everyone. I'm Shaheen from the Content Mix, and I'm excited to be here with Flavio Stiffan, a marketing strategist and consultant based in Germany. Thanks so much for joining us, Flavio.
Hello, Shaheen. It's great to be with you.
So could you start just by introducing yourself and telling us a bit about what you do at Stiffan Consulting?
Absolutely. I've been lucky enough to be the founder of Stiffan Consulting since the last 4 years. And I'm a freelance, like you said, I'm a freelance consultant focusing on marketing, global marketing strategy and content development. Part of that, the discussion is always about marketing business development, about how clients can go and expand their market beyond what they have originally done. And my work is to build the marketing strategy or enhance the marketing strategy they might have to be able to take it beyond. And in fact, this is the idea we have here, is the fact that marketing is a constantly moving science, and more tools are coming in, some are disappearing, and it's constant renewal of how the message is being transmitted to the end audience and looking for new audiences. And this is what I'm here for, to take those clients and drive them forward and show them the new way, and in some cases to create a marketing organization that would work for them.
So how does content play into what you do?
How does content play? The content is this is the essence of what is going on, right? I mean, if there's no content, there's no message. If there's no message, there's no brand. If there's no brand, there's zero. So this is a big deal from a content standpoint. What I've noticed, and especially during COVID-19, is the fact that we are being even more inundated with content than we ever had before. And there it becomes a discussion about saying, what is real content? What is, I want just to be popular for a moment content? And what is, I'm going to say for sake of a better term, junk content? And how that is being built. So I've been always proning of saying that quality is better than quantity. So from a content standpoint, it is always a discussion about being truthful about what you say. I mean, it's not that you want to, I would say, give wrong information about your product or your services or what you do. It's about creating the loyalty behind that. And I still do believe, and many companies that are very successful around the world have had that point of saying that they have a really good hand on the quality of the content that they put out. And they rather hold back on some content if they feel it's not good enough. And I think this is a key element of today's marketing.
So what's like a typical project that you would do for a client?
A typical project could be a client saying that they need to launch a new product or a new service. And they either are not sure exactly how to address an audience because it might be a new product or a new audience they want to touch. And then there's a requirement for doing a marketing research behind that, evaluate what are the exact points and trigger points that would turn that audience on. And you have others that are saying, I want to launch a product and I am not sure how that fits into the rest of my marketing strategy. And so in both cases, it requires some work for moving forward. I had clients that came with startups, in fact, coming with products and saying, I want to launch this. What do you think my message should be based on the product that I have? And then the discussion is to say, okay, so what are the qualities or what are the elements that product is going to create into the mind? And so those are kind of the projects that I've been working on. I think the latest one that I've been very happy with has been a client that had to really work and rebrand itself and see how that works together. I think those are exciting projects to work on.
So before starting your consulting business 4 years ago, you were working in corporate sales and marketing, and looks like with a specialization in the semiconductor industry. I was curious how that experience has like shaped the work that you do now.
This is an interesting question from the standpoint that having done over 20 years of semiconductor industry, both in Europe and in the US, and having worked with, I would say, groups around the world, it has driven that thinking of being global but staying regional at the same point, which sounds like a cliche, but in fact, it's true that not everything that works in Japan would work in Europe, or that works in Europe would work in the US or in Latin America, or even further, that whatever that works in Italy might not work very well in Denmark or in the UK. And so one of the key elements of working into a corporate world is that the corporate world tends to put a stamp of this is the way we do things around the world. But at the same time, the semiconductor industry that I worked with, and I had the great privilege of working with great people there, was to see how is it that can be taken to be a little more personal, a little more direct. And I think it was a fantastic experience to look at an industry that moves at a fast pace, that has, in fact, the players of the industry are very few and they know each other. I mean, this is a very small circle. So you end up talking to everybody all the time, regardless on if you're company A or company B or a freelancer like myself right now.
So what's the biggest change that you've seen in marketing over your career?
I think the biggest change by far has been the amount of information that we can inundate people with. Social media that started, from a Facebook that was like, I'm taking the kids to school right now, or let's meet for coffee, where now you have all social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it, coming with everything in there. It goes from personal messaging to networking to politics to anything that passes by, right? And I think that's the big change, because when you think 15 years ago, 15 years ago, roughly, marketing was advertising, was how to do calls and having call centers and calling people to get things going. Today, everything goes on your smartphone, right? So it's a huge difference into marketing. And it also makes a big difference from the standpoint that the differentiation to get your message through is much more complicated. It is way more difficult.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I wanted to ask you about a new project you have, the Creative Lab. Could you tell us about that?
The Creative Lab is something that started in the mind last year, and COVID-19 accelerated the whole thing. It is, in fact, a video lab, kind of what we're doing today, but live into a studio, to be able to help clients to transition or to enhance, rather, even their marketing strategy to a video marketing strategy. And the reason for this is because video marketing, at the beginning, I mean, if you look at the pandemic with Zoom and WebEx and everything, people starting to just do video conferencing is really a great way of doing things. But at the same time, there's a lot to learn out of it, and the evolution there is fast right now. And so the Creative Lab, in fact, is a very high-tech video broadcast lab here in Munich, Germany, where we can work with clients, define the way to communicate with an audience in a very interactive way, even though it's via video and with a given number of people on the other side of the screen, and use that for either recording programs or broadcasting live programs. And in fact, alongside with two other freelancers that I've teamed up to create the Creative Lab, we are launching next week a brand new program that we'll run on, and at the same time working with clients to, I would say, create specific content that is for video marketing and a specific strategy for video marketing, rather than taking a PowerPoint presentation and sharing it through a laptop.
So this program that you're working on, do you have a date yet for when it's launching, name and stuff like that?
It is the Creative Minds, and it is launching on Vimeo next Monday. I mean, the 9th of November at 5 p.m. CET. And you can get the link and everything through social medias, connect with me, and I'll be happy to. You'll get the notifications on that on Vimeo, looking for Stiffan Consulting. And I think the first episode we are going to talk about creativity, in fact, and how is it that the situation we have with COVID-19 and working remotely is impacting creativity for the marketing people. And so we're looking forward to have, in fact, a dialogue with the people on the other side and saying, so what do you see? How does it go? And this is in fact, a program we'll do every other week. And it's a 30 minutes program. So it's a very short program in a way. And this is what video is about. It's supposed to be rather short. We don't want to be 2 hours on a broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That definitely sounds like a relevant topic for our audience. So we'll definitely share the link in the blog post along with this video.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So on that topic, what's it been like for you during this lockdown period, and how has it impacted your work?
So it has impacted the work from the standpoint that I've never used my webcam and laptop more than before. I mean, before that, it was hopping from a meeting to another. Now it's hopping from a video call or a phone call to another. But I must say, it's not for the bad. I'll be honest with you, it's not for the bad. It has also provided me a great opportunity for taking time to reflect, to do other activities, to evaluate other avenues of doing business, and even looking at other markets where my consulting services could be used for. The creative lab being one of those areas which has been accelerated by COVID-19. So I think in the mind, I know some people complaining about the fact that they are working from home or it's different. Of course, the setup, the layout, the agendas, and the day schedule might be different. But in fact, I have found it quite interesting from the standpoint that if one really wants to force itself to look outside of the box, it is in fact a great way to get, even if you have four walls around you, to really start thinking out of the box.
Yeah, they say that like limitations actually create kind of foster creativity, right? If you have to work within certain parameters, it makes you think of creative ideas.
That's true. And by the way, on the talk next week, what we'll talk to the creative minds is the fact that not everybody is creative at the same time, right? Your creativity. I don't know about you, Shaheen, but my creativity, for example, is early in the morning, and this is the way I'm wired. And some people would basically build a schedule during the day that makes it that they can use that creativity moment to the maximum. I think if we are stifled, or if we are more into a mode of I get up, I take my car or public transport to go to work, I'm having lunch, I do my conference calls and everything, I come back, that thinking about creativity might just be forgotten for a while. And I think this is what COVID-19 and all the limitations that we had to put up with might in fact help.
Absolutely. So going back to your personal story, how did you get into marketing in the first place, and what was it that attracted you to the field?
That's a tricky one. And the reason for this is because marketing for me was never really a focus. I'm coming from the IT world, and IT, it's really much coding and stuff like this. It doesn't have much marketing about. But then I had the great luck of having a boss that said, no, you're not, I'm going to bring you into sales. And so it pushed me into corporate sales. And then from there, the discussion was totally different, was how to create demand. And creating demand is in fact using a marketing tool to be able to develop that. And then from there, I moved into business development, mostly for Latin America, which was very interesting because it was at the time, a booming, I would say, environment with a lot of startups, a lot of design houses and things like this. And their marketing became really the focus of saying, so how exactly I'm going to be able to position a given product, or what is going to be a marketing strategy to drive that, knowing that I really need to understand who my end customer is. And in some cases, this is this type of end customer and that type of end customer, this type of end customer. And they each have a different way of receiving the information. And it was very interesting to me to look at that. And that, I think, this is where the click went on.
And your experience is really international. You've worked in global roles where you were dealing with a lot of different markets. Well, I wanted to ask well, first of all, is that something that you're still doing now? I mean, are you mainly working with clients with like an international scope? Or are you working more in the German market? And then what is the, I guess, difference? What's unique about, marketing globally? And yeah, what have you learned from your experience there?
Well, the same as you do. I mean, you work across different languages and different areas, and I do the same. I enjoy that, in fact. I mean, because I'm coming from a global environment, because I've been traveling a lot and living in many places, my background has been always to look and enjoy the different cultures and the different languages, and and really work into connecting with the people on a local basis. My customer base is still international. There's no question about it. And I'm hoping it's going to stay this way, in fact. But I think the value of the internationalism, and I'm not saying globalism, because this is a total different discussion, but the fact of working with international clients, it is the fact that it really triggers that thinking of saying, okay, this might work in this country. It might not work into that country. There's a different culture. How can I go and tailor my message to go and drive it this way? And if one travels, if one looks with open eyes about what's happening around the world, and is a little curious about what happens around the world, even more now with all the globality of information and messages that we get and social media and everything, we realize more and more that it's not just one message that is dubbed in multiple languages that would work. I think this is really what the difference is. And even inside the European spectrum, it's not the same having a customer in Italy and having a customer in the UK or in Denmark or in Germany. They tick differently. And we tend to think sometimes that it doesn't really require different strategies, but in fact it does.
Yeah, very good point. And I also just wanted to ask you about measuring the success of your marketing efforts. Like, what do you think is the most important thing to look at?
I think from a success standpoint, the most important is the loyalty of the customer. Acquiring a new customer takes a long time, takes a lot of effort, a lot of money. And so once you have one, you want to keep it as long as you can. And it's not by giving discounts or coupon codes or whatever goes with it that is going to stay. Because, I mean, in sales, one of the things I've learned very quickly is that price is not exactly the place where you want to be to go and just compete on price. There's always somebody who's going to try to cut you down. So it is about the value of what you bring, and it is about the loyalty of the customer. And the way to measure that, it is by the followers. I mean, anybody who's on social media will go on to the likes and into the shares. So the likes, personally, I don't find it being a great measurement. Anybody can go and click like. It's easy done. It's quickly done. Share requires a lot more work. You have to say, I'm sharing with my network, or I'm sharing with my friend, or I'm sharing with this. So it's a little more, to me, it's a better measurement already. And then there's obviously the ones that follow you. So on social media. And I think it's really the element of discussion, and not just for social media. It's the same for video marketing. It's the same in your own network. It's the same with the friends around you. If you do something, you like to have the people coming with you and not just saying, I like it, and then they don't talk to you for another 6 months. So I think criteria of success, as much as a lot of people go by the likes, I'm really not kind of like somebody who will put a whole lot of, I would say, emphasis on this, because that's too easy. I want to push it to another level.
Yeah, very good point. So it's about those loyal subscribers, the ones who are really following you. Yeah. Great. So let's move to the recommendations part of the interview. Well, first of all, do you have any tips for staying productive?
Yes, I do. I mean, the first one is follow the creativity mode where you have it. But I think the second one, what I've started at the beginning of this year, has been meditation. And it's been interesting. I'm somebody who tends to be a little hyper, kind of like pushing on things, and I'm a pusher. And what I found is that meditation tends to give me a base of, okay, let's take a step back and think and see how things can be done better. So it is, some people might laugh about it, but I think and I've talked to other people too that have done, have engaged into daily meditation, or maybe twice a week meditation, whatever works. I think this is a really a great way for, in fact, taking a moment and be more productive after that. And then the other one, I think, is it's not just about work. It's also about life. It's about what you do, family, and things like this. And working from home, in fact, has been providing me more time for cooking for my family, or doing other things, which has been, in fact, quite good, because it allows to disconnect for a moment and then try to reconnect and be more productive. And when really the productivity goes, it's like deep in.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess is remembering that it's not everything is about being productive, but but then when you actually paying attention to other parts of your life can actually have the effect of making you more productive because you're more
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed. And in fact, a lot of companies have realized that even having the people working from home, the productivity has not stalled. Productivity, in fact, has gone up because people can manage their time in a better way, or they can be just more focused at a given times. It's not because one is at the office 10 or 12 hours a day that one is productive 10 to 12 hours a day, right? And so I think this is interesting to see also that there have been companies that have said, I'm not doing a 5 days week. I'm sorry. I'm doing a full one, which sounds like, wow, 3 days off a week. That sounds really good. And they have not found a lack of productivity behind that. In fact, they found an increase of productivity behind that. So I think the discussion about employers or people that think that because one is working from home, they're less productive, I think we can put that one out. There's always going to be the ones that are less productive than others. But it's not because you work from home or not. It's just because the way you might get about your work.
Right, absolutely. So for other recommendations, do you recommend any like learning resources or online courses?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the great things of working from home or being freelance and having a little more time in some cases has been to be able to read books about marketing. I've got some great authors I really love. One of them is really Guy Kawasaki, for example, who's been doing a lot of roles with Apple and other companies, and he wrote fantastic books about marketing. I mean, personally, I think they are very eye opener, and it's really cool. But I think beyond that, take the time to do online trainings. You know, whatever comes to your liking. I've done classes with Adobe. I've done classes with LinkedIn Learning. Because of the creative lab being going on, I've been brushing up on my photography and video classes. Another one that I worked on that I've been following, in fact, and I'm still, because they're still issuing some new classes, is HubSpot, alongside with Vimeo, that teamed up and are doing classes about how to keep your audience running on videos. So I think, yeah, those are great ones for marketers that are interested out there to expand their knowledge and take the time to digest new ideas and be creative.
Great recommendations. And what's your favorite app at the moment?
My favorite app at the moment, so I must say, is probably Adobe Illustrator right now, because I'm doing a whole lot of material for the lab, and I had Photoshop already. Now I got Illustrator, and I'm getting deeper into that. I really enjoyed what those tools can do, but I'm using a lot of applications. I'm Apple based, so I'm using a lot of applications with Keynote and stuff like this that are maybe a little more on the creative side to build great content for the broadcast and for clients. But I would put right now Adobe Illustrator probably as my top fun one to be with.
So we're reaching the end of the interview, but I just wanted to ask if you have any parting advice or final takeaways for other marketers in Europe.
I think especially for marketers, don't get bogged down with the volume of data that is flying about and try to compete with that. That would be my first point. It's absolutely complicated when you see social media being totally swamped now with the US elections going on and other situations and anything around the world. Everything goes through social media. Look for new ideas about how to get about. And for me, I think video marketing is the next step to go and do that. And if anybody out there wants to come and discuss that, I'll be more than happy to. That would be the first one. The second advice is really to learn and look at what are the markets out there and learn from other areas of the environment that you might be into and see how you can apply that to yourself. For example, I'm big on everything that is green, right? So anything that is ecology, I'm basically going and commuting with an e-bike, and if this is not e-bike, it's just public transport. And it has created also some thoughts about saying, how do I do the website? Can I have a website that runs on a green platform instead of running through whatever other platform that might be out there? How does this impact? And by the way, how does this develop the message to go on? So, take, for the marketers out there, take a piece of yourself and that you love, and just see how you can apply that to the marketing strategies you're putting in front of your clients or into your own company.
That's excellent advice. Yeah. Make it personal, no?
Absolutely. Marketing is all about personality. And this has been one of the, I would say, the big lacks we had. Many people have been thinking that one message fits all. I'm not a buyer into that position.
Well, that's a great final takeaway. So thank you so much, Flavio, for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you, Shaheen, for having me, and be safe. First of all, absolutely be safe.
Thank you. You too. And thanks to everybody for listening in. For more perspectives on the content marketing industry in Europe, check out thecontentmix.com and keep tuning into the podcast for daily interviews with content experts. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.